Here we start with the planking stage. Now that everything has been sanded smooth, it's time to add all the planks to the sides to finish off the hull and give it the proper shape. The kit came with 53 of these strips of 1 by 3 by 43 centimeters, and all these go on the sides. One of them is not enough to cover the whole upper part of the hull, so at the beginning 2 of them have to be used, and the way the kit recommends to join them together is at the double plank here where it's joined together, so that's the best option. I will start from the top. That's my plan. I'm making sure that it's flush with the deck and slowly go down. In the rear, the instructions also state to go only until the last frame down here and leave the last part to plank later with shorter strips. Initially I'll start from the top and go down, and also from the bottom up and meet in the middle, and see how that looks as I progress. To attach them, the best option is to use clamps, binder clamps with an extra little handle from another one of them stuck inside to be able to hold them by pressing them down this way. As well, and some parts like this middle plank, the end, and the forward part, I'll have to be using nails. Probably that's the best option. Since the glue I'll be using is wood glue, it's the best option to stick them down. There are a lot of different ways of planking on different channels. I've seen different people doing different things, even using super glue, but I think I'll stick to the wood glue unless I don't have another option. So that's the plan, and we'll see how it works out and go along with it and see the results. Hello, I'm back again. I have finally put 3 layers of the planking. It's working okay. Obviously I'm only going up to here as the instructions say, and the last part will be planked later on with little bits of little strips. Okay. The way I'm doing this is, since the planks are not long enough to do one whole side, just as the instructions say, I'm putting the front part all the way to this frame, which is doubled, and then the back part. I'm doing it with wood glue, the front part, and only this little last part, since it bends so much, I'm doing it with super glue. And the way I'm doing it is with the whole strip. I'm actually measuring it and creating a little piece cut at the front to match with the angle, and also tapering it so the strips will join together at the front. All I do then is put glue on it and then measure it, placing it and holding it with these clips. They're just binder clips with an extra an extra part right here that I add, that I put in the middle, and then I just push them in, and that holds it in, and it more or less stays pretty well. and then I do one side. When it dries, I go ahead and do the other side. And just so you see how I do it, it's pretty simple. Before that, just to make sure that the angle is the same on both sides, I go ahead and put the two pieces together, and then with a scalpel I just cut out the same angle, so that way I have it for later. This guarantees that both sides are identical. All I do afterwards is taper the other side, as I did this one, and this one I reserve to one side. To glue it on, it's just a matter of grabbing the glue, putting a generous amount here, and then with a toothpick I just go ahead and cover the whole strip, making sure that the tapered side is on the inside, and then just adding an amount of glue here, spreading it out. This should make contact with all the parts of the frames to which it touches. I'll try and do this as quickly as possible, not to make this video too long, but just going along the whole strip. And on this side, since it's the first side, I make sure that the taper part doesn't actually get any glue. And then, since it's going to be joining to the other three that I've already put, I go along all the edges and put a little bit of glue so that it sticks. Just a bit more here. It doesn't matter if it squeezes out, since it's wood glue. I'll just clean it out afterwards. This one right here. The last one. Work right here. And then just to strengthen the joint, just along the line where the two pieces will join right here, making sure that it doesn't go beyond the size of the strip, the 3mm, so the next one joins without any trouble. Once I've done that, this glue, actually, the good thing is it gives you a lot of time to work. All I do is, starting by the front, I make sure to clean out the edges my way, and then I look for the placement so it starts off where the other one ends, and I hold it down. I push it down to where it should go, and then I add the clamps. This first clamp is almost at the edge, so it's pretty hard to get it on, but then the rest do put a lot of pressure on. This way, just to make sure there is no step, or at least the smallest step I can get. the next one. And then the next one right here. And the last one, which should make it line up with the crack on the other. So the glue doesn't accumulate on me. The best idea is to clean it out a little bit here, like that. And now it's a matter of patience and holding the strip in place here for a couple of minutes, 5 minutes or so, until it stays put. Now, 5 minutes, patience, waiting is the best option. Okay, after 5 minutes of patience, I can let go, and this is the result. Right? As I was waiting for this to dry up, I went ahead and with the scalpel ran it right at the edge here to make sure that the glue is off and it doesn't interfere with the following one. It will take about 12 hours or so to glue, but meanwhile, since it's nice and secure, I can actually add the other one on the other side and then go on to the two on the back. And little by little, this way the hull gets covered. Well, I'll keep you updated with the progress as I go along. Hello, this is how I'm going to put the rear plank now that the two front ones of the fourth row are nice and secure. I've gone ahead and put the fourth one on the other side, and this is the one that's left over. The way that I do it is using the clamps. I put it into its position and then hold it down to where it's meant to go and make sure that it's all flush. And then I draw a line to identify where I have to cut it to make it all squared, and also another line to indicate where the white glue, the wood glue, has to go. This little last part I'm using super glue because the plank has to bend almost 90 degrees from the original. So once I do that, I take this one off and then slightly move all of them out of the way to make it easy to take off and then put back on. And then I go ahead and cut it where I had the idea, which is right here and right on the black line, the correct angle. They're only 1 millimeter thick planks, so they're pretty easy to maneuver. To make sure I know where the CA has to go, I'm just going to copy the line on this side. And as in the first one, using the white glue and the toothpick, adding it all on. Doesn't matter which part to start on, just a matter of covering it all up to that line. And making sure the whole strip is covered. Again, a lot of extra because only the part of the plank that touches the frame will actually glue itself, but it's much easier to do it this way. Much quicker. This glue has about 5 minutes working time, so not a matter of having to do it extremely fast, but before it dries. And the last part right here. And once I do that, grabbing the ship, and again, like in the front, adding glue right there on the plank above. And quickly going down through it. This part as well here. And this one back here. Finally, just on the last one right there. And that should be okay. Once I do that, getting it out since I'm going to need it for the super glue, and adding the plank where it needs to go. Right there. Nice and tight. Making sure that it butts up against the previous one. I'm pressing it down as a clamp. Same as the following one. As I'm going along, I'm also squishing the glue that comes out. And it holds on. Going down the line. Making sure that it's nice and firm. Due to the bend in it, it does become harder to push it down. But it does work. The last one right here. And then making sure, looking down, that it's all set. Now it's a matter of getting the super glue. Not much is needed. Almost running out, but just a little drop is enough. And then with the same toothpick, grabbing and putting it on too much. And just rubbing it on. And making sure that it's only in that little part. Now that that's okay, it's just pressing it down for a little while so it stays where it has to go, and making sure that all the rest are in the correct place. A couple of seconds. it should hopefully stay on. In this case, this last one was a bit too long in comparison with the other ones, but later on I'll come by with an X-Acto knife and cut them down all to the same length when I put them all on. In this case it doesn't want to glue on, so a little bit more glue. And that should do the trick. This is the reason why I prefer to use the white glue, but in sections like this it is impossible. And holding it on for a couple of minutes, and that should keep all the plank held on. And waiting for about 12 hours for the glue to set, and then I can take off the clamps and start with the next row, the 5th row. To give an idea, it takes about 30 minutes to cut out each plank on average, and fixing it, and then waiting for it to dry for those 12 hours. So it gives an idea of how long it takes to make the ship. I'll keep on working on the next couple of rows, and we'll see how it goes from there. Thank you for watching. And here it is, the end of the beginning of the planking. I've put 6 rows on each one of the sides of the hull, and they seem to be holding pretty okay with the wood glue, as well as the front is ending up pretty straight and in a point as it should be. The 6 strips have allowed me to cover all the back until they join right at the middle, so the alignment seems to be pretty straight. The sides are coming out pretty flat, just a minor amount of stepping between the strips, but they seem to be okay and holding perfectly well. It's taken strips in the front and the back because one whole strip until now didn't cover the whole hull, but from now onwards I'll be able to use one whole strip or parts of the halves that I've had to use for each one of the parts. So that covers the first part of the planking, and hopefully it's being useful and you're finding it good to learn some tips, and obviously everything should work out nicely for the next part. Until then, thanks for watching, and see you in the next part of the planking.